Welcome back, comrades, to episode number 2 of my Minecraft survival series. My name is Sam, or Cobblestone. Let's get into this video. I am very enthused today to be creating the second installment of this series. I'm not exactly where I left off. I was some ways over there last time I saw you and spoke to you. I've now traveled over the river to this other side of the river and into the forest in search of a suitable location to create my home, my base, and what I have in mind for the future of this world, my forever world. So the terminology likes to be used, people referring to their ideal world as their forever world. And that should hopefully be what the outcome of this world is, something that I will have forever, or at least for the foreseeable future. Whether this becomes the only world that I ever play in Minecraft ever again. Unlikely, but, you know, the terminology be damned. We're doing the best that we can. And I have not had a great time because I don't have any shelter. I've also increased my difficulty to hard, for better or for worse. I think I'm going to play at a bit more of a frenetic pace than just normal mode, which I was in last episode. So I'm keen to try and outlast it on hard mode. And I also I want to try and set myself a challenge of not dying, however difficult that might prove, if not impossible. If it's an insurmountable challenge, then I think I shall soon realize that. If I'm going to be heading down this side of the river, that skeleton is awfully annoying. I can manage the other mobs, but skeletons, because they throw projectiles at you, really are difficult. As I said, like spiders, creepers, zombies, not so hard, more than manageable in my mind, but as soon as you get the skeleton involved, then we're looking at a completely different proposition. All right. I did like it over there as a location, but I just find the sand to be it kind of like throws the balance off for what I'm looking for. And ideally, I would have a boat right now because that would make it much easier if I were able to kind of sail down the river as opposed to hiking it on foot and having to battle all of the mobs that are scattered around here. But that is okay. That is neither here nor there. Looks like it's almost morning time anyway, and then I'll have a bit more of a clearer head. Oh boy. I thought that was a mob that just came down from up there, but it was a wolf, a bit friendlier. It was moving very quickly, and maybe I could, in fact, tame a wolf. As I mentioned, yeah, get him, buddy. This one already came into bat for me. I think this one could potentially be my lifetime dog. I found my partner in crime, and he's a hungry little boy, so I'm going to have to look for more skeletons. Please don't wander too far from there, because I might mistake you for any of the other dogs and have to start from scratch in trying to tame you with bones. 3, it was a bit of a shot in the dark to try and tame the dog with 3, or wolf that is. So I'm going to hopefully find a skeleton somewhere soon. Just when you need a skeleton, they disappear on you, but there seems to be an endless supply of them when they are definitely not requested. Okay. Yep, that's not good. And they've turned on each other. Yeah. They've turned on each other just at the right moment. And I'm going to... There we go. There's the apple bush. Where are the apples? Here are the apples. How do you like them apples? I like them very muchly because I'm at 1 heart, and that was a near-death experience after just saying that I'm not going to die. That's okay, because it was in pursuit of the dog, which I think is a very worthy endeavor. On hard mode, particularly when all you're wearing is a leather cap, you can quite quickly have damage inflicted against you and lose your health. That thing is going to explode. think I'm going to have to kill this creeper in order to get to the skeleton. 4 hits with an iron sword should do it justice. And I'm going to try and collect the bones that I hope the other skeleton would have dropped, and did, and then try and find... What was he? Was over here. He was back in this direction. Oop, he's going to do a little stakeout. Wow, he's not going to advance. He's quite tactical, this one. And he's now dead. And 3 bones. I'm hoping... that should fulfill the deal. Okay, I'm going to kill this one, and then I'm going to go and look for the dog. Done. I shall see you back there. Okay, I've now made myself a ways over here, and I did kill another skeleton along the way, though I don't think it dropped any bones. Bones, they're in there. And I was rearranging my inventory. Now I am in search of this dog who was just here moments ago. Okay, I think it's this one. Though I can't be sure. And it's still not enough. So that is a very hungry animal, if I do say so myself. And the rain has set in as well. It's kind of made this like more difficult to grapple with, but I'm going to make the best with what I can. And I really do think that this is quite a suitable area to set up a home, so I'm not going to really waste any time. I'm just going to start clearing, like raising all of these trees and clearing a little space here that I can call my own. And then I'm going to get to work with planning the layout of how the house is going to look. Now, you might be saying that perhaps I'm moving too quickly. Some might even argue that I'm moving too slowly. It really is up to the individual creator of a Minecraft Let's Play series, Survival, to determine the speed of how the episodes will progress. I've seen some people do it, not that I really watch too many other creators do Minecraft Survival Let's Plays. Well, at least some of the more popular ones don't do it in the way of just like pure Minecraft Survival Let's Plays. They're generally involving some other like elements or variables, whether it's like modding or it's building or it's like a gigantic hardcore world or something like that, which I'm sure everyone would be familiar with. But how I'm moving at is kind of doing most of the work and most of the actual survival playing of the game itself on camera. I don't intend to kind of go off camera too often, because I think that kind of leaves a lot of stuff out of like what I wish to record, and a lot of the core experience is relegated to stuff that's not even on camera. Of course, if it's like overly menial and boring, then I don't really see the point in trying to like fill that dead air of having no action taking place. But I'm going to get as much of it in as I can and do my best to kind of commentate over it. However boring or engaging you find me, I hope I'm going to be able to bring a bit of color and a user experience from a viewer perspective to the game. So I've done my best to kind of get this area. I'm going to be building my home predominantly with oak wood, though I'm going to try and find a spruce biome as well, so I can lop at the spruce logs and then convert them into spruce planks, so I can get some spruce stairs and slabs as well on top of it all. I think that oak pairs really nicely with spruce, and it's always been my favorite combination in terms of wood. Spruce logs, it's kind of a different kettle of fish altogether, because I think you have to kind of tailor that to the particular biome that you're building in, and it doesn't look as good in most other biomes, but you can be fairly comfortable. I just want to do one chest for now, and then think about perhaps expanding with larger things. And I'm just going to dump all of this stuff in here that I don't think is like extremely necessary right now. The sticks might come in handy, and I'm going to actually set this up as well so that I can begin the smelting journey. Gold going, and then I've iron in the inventory. I'm looking for different furnaces. How do you make a blast furnace? This is something I'm going to look up. Okay, both recipes for a blast furnace and a smoker are fairly intensive, and they do involve having to smelt cobblestone into stone, and boy, it is already nighttime again. I kind of wasted a bit of time there meandering where I should have probably been getting down to brass tacks. So again, I'm going to do my best to kind of light up this area so that not too many mobs interfere with what's happening. And I do feel like I've also established a pre kind of condition of this game that I'm not going to be using a bed. That is right, I'm not going to be using a bed. So I'm going to see this night out again. I'm spending the majority of time on camera at night, and then majority of time playing and wasting time during the day. Probably not the best organization of my time, but that is not to worry. And now that I will be able to make an axe, I'm going to do exactly that. Also going to make a shield because I feel that's equally important to having everything else put together. And then if any mobs want to come my way once more, I'll have a form of protection besides this puny little leather cap that I'm wearing. Dog almost got in the way. I'm going to call them wolves, actually. Until they're tamed, they're wolves. I think that's the official terminology I'm meant to use. He's still hanging around, so I feel like he does want to be tamed. He's just waiting for me to get my everything in order so that I can actually tame him. And sorry, I think I have to remember exactly how you're meant to. I think it actually is a second furnace event, and that will be able to get you smoothstone. Yeah, so I believe it's 3 of these, and then I also need to smelt some more iron so I can use the iron on top of it. Now there's a skeleton over here. I think that would be useful for me in trying to harvest a few more bones to get over the line with that wolf. Here a spider. Searching for that skeleton. It's proving awfully difficult to gather enough bones. But that's okay, that's okay. We'll do the best that we can. In the meantime, I'm going to make a smoker. Because why not? Why not? And I also need to smell, or like cook that pork. So I think this is the recipe for a smoker. It does require furnace. Put that in the middle, and then we have a smoker. Lovely. This I'm really doing things for the first time that kind of hurt. I'm not gonna lie. And only a couple of hits from a mob in hard mode, and your health depletes itself right down. I'll tell you that much. It's very painful. Okay, yeah, that's enough. That's enough of that. I'm going to try and cook that before anyone else sneaks up on me. And yeah, then get the iron on. I don't want to eat the potatoes just yet because I said previously in the last episode, potatoes generally forms like the basis of my Minecraft diet, just because it's so plentiful when you start sowing potatoes into the ground and you kind of get a farm going. It's a very productive crop to grow, so that's what I'm going to be utilizing as my primary food source, and then I suppose supplementing it with some other things, but at least in the meantime, that's how I would like to proceed. And I'm also super wary that something could sneak up on me at any moment. Such is being outside at night. Generally, I make myself a little hidey hole to kind of hide out in to save myself from the dangers that lurk. But for now, we'll just have to make do. And I'm not giving up on that skeleton. I really do think that having a dog and then also trying to find out where some armor is in this world, those are two of my priorities. Things that I'd like to get done as soon as possible, so that I can have companionship and it's not just me and you, the viewer. I will have another friend and ally to play the game with. There's a creeper there, there's also a creeper there. I'm going to split the middle and run away because gunpowder, again, not necessarily the most useful item. What I'm really after is a bone or two, or however many are necessary. String is useful because I'll be able to create myself a bow and a fishing rod. So I'm continuing to hunt. Woohoo. I just battered by one skeleton, and then I didn't realize that he had a friend hiding behind him. Boy, they shoot so quickly. Rapid fire with their arrows. Oh boy, I've fallen. I have fallen. It's alright, not to worry. I don't have a shovel. Unless you're like planning to dig dirt, I don't really find shovels to be the most useful thing to craft in terms of tools. And there are two skeletons here. Fantastic. I'll try and get 2 shots in with my sword before. Spiders sometimes don't take knockbacks, which makes it difficult. Okay. Alright, where'd the other skeleton get to? And he's enchanted by just what I want. I'm gonna do my darndest not to get hit. I think if it's a power, then it could be awfully hard for me. Unbreaking, alright. I suppose I have a bow now. It's unbreaking. The durability is quite depleted, but it should be enough. And it is morning, and I have 4 bones. I'm going to hope that the wolf has still stayed in the vicinity of my little impromptu base area. Because if it hasn't, understandably so, I've failed in the more recent future to find all the necessary implements to get it tamed. Now, where is my friend? I'm going to do a little bit of searching before I find him. Okay, now I really can't find where my friend ever got to, and at the risk of losing another day, I'm just going to get on with it and hope that he will, that Wolf will return here at some point soon. I'm going to prioritize a few things, which includes, yes, of course, the scaffolding and the schematic of the house that I shall soon build, but also trying to find a more reliable source of food, as pork chops that I just made have already been eaten, and kind of as soon as you sustain a little bit of damage in this game, it relies on your hunger to replenish your health. So you got to keep your hunger high. And I also don't want to kill off all of the farm animals that exist around here for fear that it'll make it more difficult in the future when I want to start breeding them to try and find, a pair of each animal. There are chickens just behind this side of the river, and then cows and sheep over there, obviously. So hopefully I'm going to be able to rely upon crops. In terms of like philosophical convictions, I might have established it. I'm not going to be transferring any sort of ways that I live my regular life into Minecraft and imposing that upon the game, which might include not harvesting and creating terrible conditions for animals, which is generally tends to be a bit of a habit of what people do in the game, is that they don't have any care in the world for how animals treat it. And that's understandably so, because these are just pixels on the screen after all. But I feel like now that I've become older, I've become a bit more critical about sort of what games that I'm willing to play and what I find to be ethically okay. It's just sort of an interesting thing to mull over about whether anyone should have any reservations at all, or it's free play. It's free game to just play Minecraft or any other game for that matter. Kind of how it was designed, and not thinking about the ethics of it. And what comes to mind is something like Grand Theft Auto or Call of Duty, where you're killing people and in a very realistic and violent manner. I do kind of think that this debate is increasingly relevant as the games and developers of games are able to increase the realistic aspect of them and make them more lifelike, especially when we have VR, virtual reality, and you can make it almost indistinguishable from the real world. I don't see that as a prospect that is so implausible. So it won't be the point that you're just kind of moving around pixels on a screen and it has absolutely no consequence or recourse for the real world. I think it's going to be increasingly more difficult to justify killing virtual people in a very realistic way. You see, like, the way that the metaverse is and some of these other forms of virtual reality, and it's really impressive in some ways, but at the same time it's not, because it's quite scary about how lifelike it all looks. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to do a bit of planning for my home now. I'm going to do that off screen. I'm going to try and speed it up so I can kind of commit myself to just thinking purely about building and nothing else, now that that little tangent is over. And then once that is done, I'm going to sign off officially. But let's get started on this build right now. And it's going to be up here. I'm going to build it in a slightly elevated position relative to the river, as I don't want to build at water level in case there's a flood and I lose the bottom of my home. No, I'm kidding. Minecraft doesn't flood. But that would be a actual relevant consideration if I were to build this in real life. You have to think about the water levels and a long-term consequences of building close to flowing water. So I'm just going to actually get started. I'm not going to think about it too deeply, and I'm going to see where this leads me. Okay, comrades, the sun is setting, and I think I'm going to call this video to an end now that I have a very incredibly rough draft of my house, how it is going to look. I'm not going to kind of take it any further here for lack of wood, which I'm very quickly running out. I'm going to need a lot more oak than that. How much you might think I have in my inventory at the moment. I'm also going to need spruce wood, which will be a job, perhaps for the next episode or the episode beyond that. And I've also set up a little temporary perimeter here with fences for all the farm animals in the area that I'm gonna round up, and I'm gonna imprison them there, where they shall see out the rest of their lives until it's come time to bring them to the slaughter for my own purposes of hunger. I thank you all and bid you adieu for watching this video. My name is Sam or Cobblestone, and I hope you have a nice day. Thank you and goodbye.